Council, if we can get Mike's screen, it'll be live on AV. We will start when the clock hits 30, which will be in less than 1 minute.
Okay.
I've done one of these before too, so. No, we gotta change the date. So,
But we do on November.
yep.
All right, the clock has struck 30. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to sincerely thank everybody that is here attending in person, as well to those that are tuning in via our live Facebook broadcast or on cable. Katie, can you please kick us off with roll call?
Schumate,
Here.
Cox.
Here.
Cosmore.
Here.
McNabb.
Here.
Molnar.
Here.
Valentine.
Here.
Wood.
Yeah.
Okay, we have all members, so there's no necessity to excuse any absent members. Council, in front of you and members of the public in front of you, you will see the agenda for this evening. I have one proposal for the approval of the agenda. I'd be requesting council to consider a motion to add an item onto the communications section. That would become item A if you so chose. That item would be described, and it was already sent to you via email by our clerk, as a notice on October 15th of intention to resign and a notice on October 17th of rescinding that resignation of Councilman Valentine. I want to make sure we follow charter and receive and file that under our communication. So we'll be looking for a motion to add item A and the associated backup documentation filed with the clerk to our communications.
Make that motion?
We have a motion by Cosmore. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Valentine. Council, any discussion on those items? Katie, please call roll whenever you're ready.
Cox.
Yes.
Cosmore?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Wood?
yes,
Great. So the only revision will be item A and the addition of that based on the carried motion under our communications. With an approved agenda this evening, with the item A, communications modification, I just want to kick off with a couple of words, and then we're going to turn it over to our public comment. To our community and everybody tuning in, for those that watched our October 21st special meeting, I just want to reinforce some comments up front. As I described in that October 21st meeting, I really feel, and I beg this community and all of those that have been tuning in, we have to focus on what unites us. And hopefully what unites us will continue to be our love for this amazing city that we call home. All of those that make that possible, and our oath as elected officials to serve the residents that elected us to be sitting in these seats. And with that unity and that focus on our community, we got to overcome what may divide us. You know, and I think if you think about October 21st, if you think about our agenda and our discussions today, depending on our ability to carry that mentality, I'm confident that we will get through this and we will come out stronger and for the greater good of this community that we call home. And, you know, we have a lot of issues we need to address, and we're not going to do that divided. And so when you think about that philosophy, I think what's really important too to our community, and I beg you to consider this, is respect and civility will get us through this. I know there's a lot of questions. I know there's a lot of comments. And I hope you feel that you have the right to comment. And we need to listen, to understand, not to speak to you. But we have to focus on respect and civility. We have to come together because we will not focus on the long-term issues that we need to solve if we're divided. The second thing that I want to make sure that everybody understands is, as our elected officials and as everybody that's actively operating within the city personnel, I hope you feel that we are relentlessly focused on continuing to serve this community and the residents that make it possible. I hope that you can respect that while you have many questions and comments that we're here to listen to, we do not comment on ongoing litigation. So with that being said, I'd love to open up the floor to our public comment. As you know, we have a public comment up front, and then we're going to have another public comment before we close. But please, for any members of public that would like to make a comment, please approach the podium, make sure that light is green, and state your name and address.
Good afternoon, Council and Mayor. Brandon Seifert, and I am a City of Gibraltar police officer. I have a question for Mr. Molnar regarding the motion that you made. When you made that motion, did you consult with Lieutenant Bullard or Sergeant Trush about their availability on October 21st at 5 p.m.?
Is that,
I just asked that we address that to the chair, and I asked that we consider the comments that I opened up with in context. But Councilman Molnar, you're free to respond in whatever capacity.
no, I did not.
Okay. So my concern, what's done is done, and city's in shambles, but like Mayor said, hopefully we come through it. But I think you did an extreme disservice to Sergeant Trush and Lieutenant Bullard by throwing their names in this motion. I'd be happy to work for both of them, and I think in the court of public opinion, they are the masterminds behind this. And I understand that you've called them and apologized, but I think it needs to be public, and to apologize to Lieutenant Bullard and Sergeant Trush. They did not ask to be put in this position. I'm happy to work for them at some point, as well as all of us at the city, but I've had to answer questions as my position at the school as to them thinking Sergeant Trush and Bullard were part of this, and I think it's a disservice to them. And I think at the very least, some spokesperson from the council should address them publicly, so the citizens who are watching, who are here, don't think that they had something to do with this, because it put them in a very bad position, and they did not ask me to speak for them. I told them I was going to speak. I was hoping this would have been addressed the 21st, but it wasn't. And I think they need to, I think publicly they need to, it needs to be addressed, excusing them or showing that they're not a part of this, because you know, we just sent Sergeant Trush to staff and command. We've never, ever prepared our patrolmen for leadership positions. And I would hate to see it go by the wayside. And I think they deserve a public apology. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I?
Please.
Sergeant Seifert, Officer Seifert. I wholeheartedly agree, and I sincerely apologize to the entire police department and to Lieutenant Bullard and to Sergeant Trush for putting their names out there and putting them in the position that they did and putting this in the scenario that it went, wholeheartedly, sincerely, and yeah,
I appreciate that, and I don't want to speak for them, but I'm sure they appreciate it.
If you don't mind, just do you comment on the mic just for those that we have in the live
I
broadcast?
appreciate that, and I'm not speaking for them because they didn't ask me to, but I'm sure they will appreciate that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any members of public that would like to address council? If so, please just approach that podium and state your name, address.
Tim Garrett, 30624 Bayview. I'm not good at speaking in front of people, but I'll give it a shot. And I know probably most of you. I've talked to just about everybody up there outside at city events and stuff. And I've been just kind of going through the whole timeline of everything that happened regarding, the fraud and everything that we keep hearing. So it's my understanding, and I have a rough timeline here, and I'm putting something more detailed together so I can understand what happened. And if anything's inaccurate, let me know. So in January, I understand police chief discovered this fraud. About a month later, he emailed Councilman Molnar and Mayor, right, to discuss this. Why it was just Mr. Molnar, I'm not sure why it would only be one councilman. I think that's kind of strange. Another month later, it seems like we had some conversations with the finance director, fire chief, and captain. And then about a month and a half later, another conversation happened. And meanwhile, we've never heard anything about it throughout the city. Nothing brought up in any city meetings that I've been to. I try to watch all of them and come to them whenever I can. So then in a meeting in August, the former mayor comes up and announces this in the middle of a city meeting, and we didn't know what the heck happened. We're trying to understand what this is about. And let's see, then I understand 2 weeks after that, Mr. Fonte scheduled a special meeting to talk about it. And I guess this has been going on, and my understanding is some of the city council members didn't even know this was going on, based on some of the other meetings I heard. And Mr. Fonte asked, he said, in his opinion, some of the people thought that there was some policy changes made to help address some of this fraud. But then other people thought now that was addressed, it was done. No accountability, no disciplinary action or anything. So 3 weeks after that, I think towards the middle of August, we sometime in August, we suggested the Michigan State Police take this because they wanted to go outside first to look at it, to see if there were any criminal activities. Let's see. Michigan State Police did not, according to the report back in the next city council meeting, Michigan State Police did not find any criminal activity and recommended handling it internally. But I noticed, I read the lawsuit papers, and I guess, you're not allowed to comment on it, but what it said in there was that they would investigate it depending on a forensic audit. And I know we asked for Plant Moran to do a forensic audit, and then we also talked about doing one externally. So, I don't know if we have any of those audits back, or we can review or get the results from it. Then the beginning of September, there was another meeting, and Councilman Molnar asked if, I understand we made some process changes, but has there been any disciplinary action or anything regarding this fraud? And the answer, what I heard, was no. And this is 8 months now after this fraud was discovered. 8 months went by, and some policy changes were made, and that's it. And then we brought up, I guess it was Article 6.8, where you can do an internal investigation, through the city council or internal members. And from my understanding, that was what was going to happen. Next meeting, 9/23, there's still no talk about any other investigation, what's going on. I guess my answer is, in that 9/9 meeting, I guess I think it was Councilman Valentine asked what this fraud was about. It didn't seem clear. So I know, Mr. Mayor, when you ran, you talked about transparency and holding people accountable. And in this scenario, it doesn't even seem like all the city council members were even in the loop, and it was not even transparent to them, and there's been no accountability on anything. So my answer is, what are our next steps? I mean, it's just based on, the readings that I saw online, it's pretty serious. What's going on, all our taxpayer money, is being, if it's fraud, I mean, even in there, it seems like, the police chief says it's fraud. I mean, if it is, it should be handled one of two ways. If it's criminal, then the police chief needs to handle it. If it's not criminal, the boss needs to handle it, who's the Department of Public Safety. So one way or the other, somebody should have handled it. And that's what I'm seeing, is there's a lack of accountability, a lack of follow-up on any of this. So that's what I want to know. What is the next steps? What are we doing to get to the bottom of this?
I really appreciate the comments, Mr. Grant. A couple of things. One is, as I mentioned, we do not comment on ongoing litigation, so I hope you can respect that.
I understand that.
As far as current state, you are correct. Council did motion, and I personally signed the paperwork to authorize our forensic accountant investigation. The focus was to remove any members of elected officials or administrative representatives so that the third party could come in and audit that forensically. So that is in gear and actively taking place. As far as the last component, all council members have been provided all information. So that's what I can provide to you this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there members of public comment? Please state your name and address and make sure that light is still green.
Hi, my name's Dennis Ragnone of 13626 Rose Street. I live, I work, I raise a family in this great community. Good evening, Honorable Mayor Schumate, ladies and gentlemen of the council, and to my fellow residents and guests, I wish you all a good evening. In a matter of days, we find ourselves unnecessarily in a peculiar position of being absent a public safety professional, and not for cause, but due to a level of maturity and discretion more appropriate for reality television than the administration of city government. Forgive me if this address sounds encompassing. It is not. It is directed to the few who clearly demonstrate deficient civility skills, either behavioral or cognitive, that has left an impression of mistrust and incompetence. I ask you to ponder the consequences of your actions and speculate what decent man or woman of uncompromised integrity, unchallenged work ethic, with the highest credentials would accept the position after learning the circumstance under which a beloved chief met the aforementioned status as leaving. The toxic environment created by seemingly ill-intended, narcissistic individuals with self-serving agendas truly lacks the interest of citizens and overall betterment of this community in this manner. Therefore, I make two recommendations without reservation. One, a citizen board/committee be assembled under the direction of the mayor to hire the next chief of police. Two, the said board/committee be tasked with creating new policies to ensure public servants can serve the public without fear that power-drunken individuals in high political positions will influence their service. Mr. Mayor, it's time to drain the swamp. I yield the floor.
Thank you so much for your comments. I took notes as well. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Marie Mendoza, 14139 Middle Gibraltar Road. Also, I am a city planning commissioner and DDA for the past 10-plus years. Before this election, and I know y'all have probably heard this over and over, but I'm just really confused because before this election, all of you had the opportunity to come and meet the public at Captain Jim's so we could get to know everybody better. I interviewed each and every one of you, Richard Cox, Art McNabb, and Rob Monar, each and every one of you. And the first thing that I brought up, which is a big concern to me and probably to everyone else here, is transparency. We talked about that in depth, all three of us, all four of us. There were some things that happened in the past that had me concerned about transparency, which is why I decided to get involved and interview each and every one of you and ask you these questions. All of you assured me that transparency was your very first priority to our citizens. So when I saw what happened at that meeting, like everybody else, I was floored. And I guess I'm not going to resort to name calling or accuse anybody of back alley deals or anything like that, but I just want to know why. Why did you think that it was okay to do this without the knowledge of the rest of the city council, let alone the mayor? I just want answers, and I think everybody else wants those same answers. I'm just very disappointed and very sad now that I voted the way that I did. I went with my heart and my trust because I spoke to all of you, except Dorothy, because you're already here, but it's a shame that you're involved in this for all the years you've been here with our city. I'm very disappointed in you and every one of you. And that's really all I have to say.
Thank you for your comments.
Tina Kuzma, 30495 Bayview. Just want to kind of touch on a little bit of what Officer Seifert said. When this all came about, I did make a comment on Facebook and here that, you know, unfortunately for Trush and Bullard, however you say his name, that was basically throwing them under the bus, right? Because immediately, knowing friendships, knowing whatever, everybody was going to make the assumption of you're getting your buddy to do this. So there's been so many lives, not only us as taxpayers, we're on the hook. We're on the hook for a nice lawsuit, which I did suggest it in August to Rick Tangway to do, based on what was not in the resolution. And even indicated to him that it would hurt us financially, but it's the principle of the matter, and he needed to do it. Lives. That's that man. He sat there. Now, reading his lawsuit against the city, knowing what he was sitting there, knowing in his mind, and being treated like by our council, that man has more grace in his pinky finger than the four of you combined. I don't know how he sat there and kept himself together, how his wife and his children sat there and kept themselves together, especially with an additional incident over here. Trush, Bullard, working in this atmosphere all these years, hoping to gain a position of clout, right? Tainted. We had letters from our schools, how we were going to negatively impact them. The irresponsibility, fiscally, mentally, emotionally, with regard to people, with regard to their livelihoods, their careers, their education, their time, their families. I had indicated, what is the purpose of having someone who grew up in the community, right? Because you got to think logically, you got to think psychologically. What is the benefit of that? To turn a blind eye to things, to sweep things under the rug, you have a little bit more play with him, which is absolutely what we don't need. Now it's all been alluded to as we read the lawsuit that might have very well been the case. This is horrible, an embarrassment. I'm getting texts from people that live in Taylor, that live in Woodhaven, that live in Riverview. What is going on in your city? We're front page news. Shameful, shameful. And we talked to Mr. Fonte about how we operate this city on very little money, and we're eking by. We have an infrastructure falling apart, and this is how we're going to spend our money. Disgusting and embarrassing.
Thank you for your comments. Any additional members of public, please approach the podium and state your name and address for a public comment. We do have another public comment session at the close of our meeting prior to adjournment. Any further comments in the audience? Great. Thank you all so much for your comments. I'd like to transition us from our public comment section to the consent agenda. Council and members of public, we have items A through F in the consent agenda this evening. Item A is bills reference number 8. Item B, payroll number 914 and 915. Item C, city council minutes of 10/14/2024. Item D, special city council minutes of 10/21/2024. Item E, planning commission minutes of 9/17/2024. And item F, DDA minutes of 9/17/2024. Council will be looking for a motion to approve item A through F on our consent agenda this evening.
Motion to approve.
I hear motion by McNabb. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Wood. Council, any discussion on items A through F or the associated information? Katie, please call roll.
Cosmore?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Motion is carried. I would like to then bring us to our communications based on the approved modified agenda with the addition of item A. Item A being a notice on 10/15 of intention to resign and a notice on 10/17 of rescinding resignation by Councilman Valentine. Council, I'd be looking for a motion to receive and file that communication.
Make a motion.
Motion by Cosmore. Is there a second?
Can I second it? Second.
Any discussion on that item? I think, Katie, lawyer, is there any procedural considerations on his ability to vote on that item?
It's directly affecting his resignation, but his withdrawal of resignation, so he should probably. He should likely abstain just because it's affecting his resignation and then his withdrawal of resignation, so it'd be better if someone else seconded it and then everyone else can vote. But you'd have to approve him abstaining of it as a council.
Okay.
I'll second it.
For the sake of proper procedure, we're going to ask that you withdraw your second. Another council member should be able to second that. Councilman Wood, what did you say?
I'll second that.
Councilman Wood will second that motion. Councilman Valentine, do we require a motion to approve his abstain, or is it
Yeah,
clear?
council should approve, so motion to approve him abstaining.
Do we need to close this motion before doing that?
Yes, he needs to abstain from the vote.
Can we do that with an active motion, I guess is what I'm asking? Meaning, do we have to rescind that motion? He has to be motioned to abstain first before we motion
Yeah,
and second.
close that, do separate.
Okay, I ask that motion be withdrawn by Councilman McNabb, if you so chose.
Go choose.
And we'd be looking,
I did that motion. Yeah, it was Marcia.
Marcia?
Marcia.
Great, so withdraw the motion from Cosmore, which would then remove that motion as an active motion on the floor. I'd ask for council to consider a motion to enable Councilman Valentine to abstain on a communication related to Councilman Valentine.
All right. Now I'll make the motion for Councilman Valentine to abstain from the motion.
Motion by Cosmore, is there a second for that motion?
Second the motion.
Second by McNabb. Any discussion on that abstain? To be clear, the reasons for abstaining is because it's regarding Councilman Valentine. Katie, whenever you're ready, we can call roll.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Abstain.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Cosmore?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Thank you for your patience on the procedural. That motion is carried. Now, we would be able to consider a motion to receive and file the communication from Councilman Valentine. Do we have a motion from council?
Motion.
Motion by Cosmore. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Wood. Any discussion on the communication, receive and file? Okay, Katie, please call roll.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Abstain.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Cosmore?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Motion carried. That is the only communication this evening, and that will take us to my report this evening. Council and members of public, in my report this evening, I have two items. I have item A, which is strategic priorities, and item B, which is administrative updates. I'd like to call your attention to the information provided in your packet. The first item that I think is very important, if you recall, members of public, for those that tuned in, I had previously provided an update on our 9-month key accomplishment list. I just want to flag to you that we will have our 12-month updated list available for you November as we approach 12 months together as a new administration. But with that being said, I want to focus our attention on the needs and issues that we're facing. I know many of you were part of the discussion that Treasurer Fonte had submitted a letter for consideration, and there's a broader discussion we've had around priorities. I think really what I'm asking of you to consider tonight is with Mike, our city administrator, being on board effective last Monday, so 1 week officially into the role. I think it's very important that we take an opportunity to give clear directive on Mike's key priorities of focus beyond his role as day-to-day operations. I'll level set that with, I'm incredibly grateful, Mike, to have you in your role. I know Mike, council is aware of this, all city personnel is aware of this. We asked Mike to consider sending out notice to all personnel in the city that really reaffirms and reinforces his 18 duties listed in our charter, his role as the manager of day-to-day operations. And so department heads and all city personnel now have a clear understanding that this is their new boss as it relates to day-to-day operations. And Mike has a good understanding of his duties in his role as administrator, and just thank you so much for being on the team. With that being said, you know, we have a couple things I want you to consider. When we first got together in November as a new administration, we laid out our first 100-day priorities, and we talked about that publicly in regards to what we want to set off to accomplish immediately. That we then segued into the broader issues and opportunities in front of us, and I'll cut straight to the point. At this point in time, I feel based on our discussions, our top 5 priorities are quite clear, and I want to have a discussion with council to make sure we're aligned. The first priority is, as we've discussed publicly, we have a water loss issue. That water loss issue has been a long-term water loss issue, and I want to make sure that we do a deep dive on that water loss issue. What I've put in your packet is really a continued action approach. One is, as you know, we've basically motioned to support the Benesh water loss audit. Following that council discussion last time around Benesh and the water loss audit, Treasurer Fonte, Councilman Cox, and I had a follow-up discussion with Benesh related to some considerations around the rate scale and the agreement considerations, as well as obviously our attorney in context of the contract. So number one, water loss, identifying the water loss. There's leak detection methods, unmetered usage, and then there'll be a chaptered pathway that will be brought back to council to understand how we solve the immediate problem and what other chapters we go on when it comes to water loss. The second thing is related, but broadly speaking, flood control. I know that we've taken some good steps recently as council, including the motion and focus on updates to our sewage station. I do commend the operation and the personnel for keeping a close eye on weather and water patterns and leveraging the pumps that we do have in the city to effectively try and mitigate floods to our residents. But I want to make sure that that's a deep dive and a focus. So that's going to be kind of bucket number one. I would say related to that bucket is going to be the infrastructure improvements that we require, water, sewer, and roads. I'll just kind of, I would say, dissect each one of those. From a water perspective, we have outdated infrastructure in our mains. The good news is that we've done 2 mains since we've been together in November, and we have a grant from our congresswoman and senator for $1 million to focus on the West Jefferson water main. But we need to have a clear prioritization of water main repairs and replacements. The second thing is related to the sewer system. We obviously have active partnership in our agreement with Shuva. I know we've discussed as a council that we are grateful the sewer lining work has paid dividends. We got our check for $210,000 back based on the reduction in percent utilization. I'll comment on that more in my report. But we have to make that a focus in I would say, calendarized, financially tied plan to make sure we have a path to repair and replace outdated infrastructure, water and sewer. The next one, obviously, when I mentioned roads, we've discussed that a lot. I know Infrastructure Advisory Committee has discussed that. We have a structural problem with our roads, and ultimately have a discussion at the Infrastructure Advisory Committee around prioritizing worst first. Any sort of, I would say, smaller scale concrete work that can be done, and I know the team has been working on that actively in partnership with Mike and others, but the bigger picture, road replacement. The good news is that somewhat interrelates to the next piece, which is our bridges. We're a very unique community with 8 bridges. This may be commented on later, but residents, you may have seen a post by our city clerk on our Facebook page in regards to not only did council approve the bridge inspection process, but when it comes to the Horse Island Bridge project, one element of that project is going to be a core analysis that's proposed for November 4th in partnership with the engineering firm. And obviously active communication with MDOT and it relates to the grant. You can imagine that major and local roads, the funding allocations we have for those respective areas, and the relationship to making sure we have the funds on hand for the bridge outcome are all intertwined, but we need a financial plan that is calendarized for our roads. The next topic in that infrastructure bucket is going to be pump station. Good news is that with our funding we have available, obviously council has taken the action on that. I just signed paperwork today related to the pump station repair, and I'm glad that that's on track. In addition to the pump station, we've discussed publicly the HVAC systems. Luckily, Mike had jumped on that immediately. I signed paperwork today related to HVAC. Obviously, there's a couple components there. Our HVAC systems, in many cases, are outdated. Outdated HVAC systems are not only problematic when they go out, but also the inefficiency and the utility costs of that. So the active paths to update those HVAC systems are in flight. I already mentioned the West Jefferson Water Main Grant. Lead line commitments, obviously we've been giving updates on that in regards to not only inspection process with the lead lines, but ultimately the replacement to the community. Many of you have already received communication or letters related to that topic as our teams work through inspections and replacements. And I think, if you think about that bucket, obviously there's a lot within that. I think many of those items are in flight. But one of the things that I asked Mike to prioritize is obviously, with council's direction, how do we push those forward? What is our clear, prioritized plan for infrastructure? And how are we tying that to our financial allocations that we have over the long term? One discussion we've had was our 5-year financial trajectory and the funds available for that, in addition to the ability to secure grants like we've done with the West Jefferson Water Main and previously the Horse Island Bridge. The next topic, which is related, is our financials. If you saw in the 9-month list of accomplishments, I am really proud of the administration. There's a lot of work that still needs to be due. But at the end of the day, as you saw in public, as you've been made aware back in August, some of the process improvements and efficiency opportunities as we took a look at everything from our professional services to how we're spending our money, we identified $460,000 plus in savings. And that was just in the first 9 months. And I hope that trend continues. But with that is we are losing money. We're losing money in water. We have all the other issues that I've alluded to earlier. We need to have a clear, sound understanding of our financials. I know for those members of public that had listened to our audit presentation, while we had a clean audit presentation, while our fund balance is up, while the revenues are up, we need to have a clear financial house in order. We have our purchasing policies and our credit card policies that council's worked to establish and update. And we have the financial calendarization that we need to consider in context of the infrastructure capacity and repairs. We have a couple things also going on in that financial bucket, and that was commented on our last meeting, software implementation for invoice processing and purchasing activities. As Treasurer Fonte and others alluded to, I would say checks and balances, including the 2 individuals required for account transfers. If you think about all of that, I think the biggest picture here is, as we discussed in context of the audit, and as Treasurer Fonte had highlighted in his letter, there's a bigger equation that is long-term that we must address, which is our ability to consider our tax base, consider our revenue, and to preserve what we have while also repairing what is many outdated needs that have not been addressed. When we think about the next bucket, it's really around structure, equipment, and inventory. What I mean by that specifically is our service contracts, how we approach inventory, and how we approach our working processes. Again, I think if you look at that bucket, I think there's quite a bit of activity that's already been going on, but there's a lot more work to do. And then the last thing I'll comment on is our ordinances. You've heard council mention that we have some out-of-date ordinances. I know some members that are sitting here in attendance today, both as council as well as members of public and/or commission members, were appointed to sit on our ordinance committee. The great news is that ordinance committee kicked off today. And the reason we have that ordinance committee is because we pursued a $50,000 grant for housing readiness. We have outdated ordinance language, and we need to clean it up. And we are kicked off as of today and on the path to doing that. So I know I'm just touching the surface. We have many things that we need to focus on, but I'll summarize with this. You'll see the 12-month accomplishment list, and I think everybody should be very proud of what has been achieved to date, but there's a ton of work to do, and that work's gonna take some time and intensive focus. And Mike, with this being week 1 or day 7 officially, I wanna make sure that you have clear direction from council as to where the priorities lie beyond your day-to-day oversight, and then we collate all the information based on the prioritization that I've just laid out, so that you have clear direction on where we need you focused. So council, with that being said, I think I've covered as much detail as needed for the sake of the packet. Obviously, a lot of depth behind that, but council, any feedback, anything that you feel is missing, not accounted for on that list? And if not, I want to make sure that Mike continues to get all information, plugs into all applicable committees and forums, works with Treasurer Fonte, obviously in accordance with our finance director on the financial element of this. And I want to make sure we're aligned on the key path ahead. Comments, questions?
Yep, my only, in the key considerations, it looks like there's more than 5. Are we trying to narrow them down to 5, or is that 5 broad spectrums there?
I think it's intended to be 5 like broad spectrum items, and hopefully what we can do is take that, if everybody's conceptually aligned with those today, and just clearly pillar those, and then have the according tactics and depth behind them. So I can take that as a next step.
Yeah, because I kind of wrote down what I thought were 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in terms of priority levels, and that way it kind of gives an idea for Mr. Blackburn as to, which items to tackle first,
Love that.
second, third, and fourth.
I love that. Yeah, and if you could take that as a follow-up, maybe sending a note to Mike just to further reinforce that. And then what we'll do is work with finance director and all other parties just to put the depth behind it. So Mike, as you're absorbing that, you know what your top 5 is, and you know what is below that from an information perspective, and we continue to get you what you need.
Thank you.
I think I would say if we're conceptually aligned on the vision, then I think let's talk about the execution. I'd like this to be a standing update, especially as we're getting off this on-ramp with Mike. So Mike, perhaps as you come out of today, we'll make sure that you have all this top 5, and we'll continue to get you all the information as we've been onboarding you actively. I know you've jumped in and absorbed a lot in 7 days, but the goal, I think, would be to have an update from you. And you can bring that update to applicable council meetings so we can just have a progress check on where we're transpiring across those items.
Do you think it'd be a good idea to have a study session?
I think it's a great idea, and I think it's something we can leverage more.
He can kind of like, pick our brains what we're thinking,
I am wide open for that. And I think, I guess, 2 paths tactically, right? 1 is we could schedule that now, or 2 is we could work on getting him all information, gathering information for council. And then I know we're going to address our next council meeting, currently the 11th. 11th's a holiday. Katie's got some information for us. But maybe at the next council meeting, we schedule that so that we have all the information together in the next 10 days, 11 days, and then have it prepared for that council meeting so that we can schedule a more informed session.
they like narrow it down for them.
I like that. And prioritize that obviously a bit before the Thanksgiving holiday. Council, any other comments? Love the solidification of the 5. And then Councilwoman Cosmore, we can make sure we get all the information and put that kind of bundled up so we can get a session that's focused.
Okay.
I'll take note of both. Any other comments on that topic? Next topic for you is administrative updates. Just a couple administrative updates for you. Council, the POAM and COAM, and for members of the public that don't know what those acronyms are, because there's always a lot of acronyms, that's command and patrol. Beyond the broader DPW contracts that were addressed early in the administration, we have reached executed agreements with our patrol and command. I know we've talked about that publicly in prior meetings, but I just want to give an update that I've executed my portion of those agreements, aligned with the tentative agreements we discussed previously with council. Second thing is the ordinance committee that has kicked off this morning. Again, thank you to some of our members of public and council that sit on that. I'm really excited about, say, kind of the baseline foundation setting for that, and community, hopefully you feel the impact when we have ordinance language that's updated, which will, I think, make everything we do a little more efficient and effective if we can achieve that. Third thing was the Horse Island Bridge. The core analysis was originally scheduled for this week. There's a scheduling conflict for the contractor. So that's going to be scheduled to take place on the 4th of November. The next item I wanted to call out for you is, speaking of water, sewage, and roads, Shuba. So as you know, council, I give updates on Shuba reports, and then I've attached that Excel file, which kind of shows the trends and analyses over time. Council, the good news is the trend continues. I don't see any flags, at least at a high level, in regards to our Shuba data. What do I mean by that? Our last percent utilization was at 11.4%. So I just want to kind of contextualize this. If you look at the graph in your packet, you'll see the trends. You'll see the most recent year and the color coding of that. But what we saw was a 9.5% in January to a, I would say, peak of 12.7% in August, and I'm talking absolute percentages, to now 11.4% utilization in September. And you see how that relates to the trends of prior years, as well as the absolute of 23, 22, 21, 20, and 99. So I want to give you an update on the Shuba flow report. Any questions or comments on Shuba percent utilization? Obviously important to consider all that data in context of the work that the team is doing with Banesh. And then the last thing is treasurer bond. I know it's been a topic that's been publicly discussed many times. I personally signed that on behalf of the city that has been sent back. Treasurer Fonte, anything to add there? Okay, great. Council, that is all that I had for you this evening, unless there's any comments or questions for me. Great. That will close my report, and we will turn over to council reports. I'd like to turn over to Councilman Valentine to talk to us about recreation.
Thank you, sir. I just want to remind everybody that December 7th, the same anniversary of Pearl Harbor, is the Christmas parade and tree lighting. The lineup for the parade starts at 4:30. There will be tree lighting, craft show inside the building, food trucks, Santa, kids' games, DJ techs, dancing elves, and ice carving. Remember, it's December 7th.
Thank you, Councilman Valentine. Any questions for Councilman Valentine? I always like that, festivities for the year, so I'm excited about that. Thank you. Councilwoman Cosmar, take us to ADW, Kiwanis, Rotary, and 33rd District.
Okay, for 33rd District, I do have a meeting tomorrow morning, or tomorrow afternoon, I'm sorry, that I'll go to, so I have a report at the following meeting. ADW, I have no report for the Alliance of Downriver Watershed. We should know the contest that went on for the kids ended today for the storm drain, so if people have sponsored storm drains. So we should know within the next few days who's what school, because we had the school district had like 4 of our schools in that, so hopefully one of us wins. Hopefully one of them wins. And for the Kiwanis, we will be, we'll also be at the Christmas, we'll be inside where the craft show is, doing crafts for the kids. So make sure you pop inside there and see us, and they'll be all free so the kids can make stuff. Excuse me. And the Rotary and the Kiwanis, we're doing a fundraiser together. So please come out if you can and help us, because it will benefit both clubs. And it's going to be music bingo. And it's going to be November 16th, 6:15 is when the doors open. It'll be at the Gibraltar Community Center. $20 if you pay ahead of time. And then we do have signs all over, and if you go online, you'll be able to find our site. And so you can, we're selling the tickets through Zeffy. And that's the only way we're purchasing, so be careful, because there's a lot of scammers. But every time we put an event, the scammers come out. Or you can pay at the door, which is $25, and that includes pizza, salad, your bingo, and then Rotary's going to be having a cash bar, so you can get, they're going to have all kinds of different drinks and stuff, and it also includes the 3 games of bingo. And if you've never been to music bingo, it's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun. And also, both clubs, I mean, we put on a lot of events, but we need people. The clubs are, I don't want to admit this, the clubs are getting old, some of us are getting older, and we really could use some more help within both clubs. And in the Rotary, they meet the first and third Monday at 6 o'clock at the VFW in Rockwood. And then Kiwanis, we meet every Tuesday at the Community Center, every Tuesday at 6:30 at the Community Center. So please come if you'd like to join, or if you'd just kind of like to come to a meeting and check it out, just come and check us out. And I think that's it.
Thank you for all the updates. Appreciate it. Any questions for Councilwoman Cosmore? All right. Councilwoman Wood, talk to us about beautification and historical museum.
Okay, beautification, since it's fall and we're just getting ready for the Christmas season, so there's nothing happening outside, which is kind of wonderful at the moment. But we are choosing a couple of award winners, beautification award winners, for the flowers and everything they put in their yard. They landscape their own. It's not anything commercial, but what the residents have done. And it's the last council meeting in December. The mayor will be presenting the awards, so we're working on that. I think we'll have two. I think we're narrowing it down to two residents this year. And that's it for beautification. And Sunday, November 3rd, the museum is open. And I wanted to thank Rotary again for the money that they have
Absolutely.
given us. We are able to purchase another display case with that amount of money, so that's exciting, so I can kind of tidy up some of the areas in there. And that's it.
Fantastic. Just one thing to add, I think we talked about it, but just for everybody's awareness. So there's been a lot of discussions around Kubota and different equipment purchasing. We talked about that at previous meetings. A member of public as well as Treasurer Fonte had brought a good opportunity for council to consider, which has been shared with Mike to look into, which is a potential like private purchase of a much less expensive Kubota or similar that would allow us to satisfy the need for beautification if council so chose at a very low price relative to a new purchase. Mike has all the information. Mike has some questions he's going to follow up on related to the equipment and considerations. And then we can maybe follow up with council whenever you feel you have that information gathered. But just want to kind of seed that with you, and council just give you a heads up that that's coming back to your court. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
agreed, thank you to Rotary for that nice donation.
Yes.
You know, and I forgot something. Can I say
Yeah.
something? I just want to say to the community, thank you for all the Halloween decorations. We just judged that, and if you go on our site, you'll see the winners. It is awesome. We drove around for 3 hours, and I mean, there was haunted houses that we had to get out and walk through, and you had all kinds of games for the kids to play. So we get a chance out. We'll go around the city, man. It's decked out for Halloween. So congratulations to our 4 winners, and we keep saying every year we're going to have to add more categories because we keep finding people's are more elaborate displays. So.
I think it's amongst so many things, a special part of our community, and rallying around that and some other major holidays throughout the calendar year. So thank you, residents, for pouring into that.
Yeah, they did a lot of work. The residents did a lot of work.
Any questions, comments for Councilwoman Wood? Councilman Cox?
Thank you. Planning Commission, we approved the sign application for the Gibraltar self-storage. This approval was contingent that the lighthouse image on the sign be increased to the maximum size and some contrast in comparison to the actual lettering of the sign. That's what was approved on the Planning Commission. DDA, we approved the budget for the 2024 Christmas parade and tree lighting. We approved the Great Lakes fireworks for the 4th of July. We approved the porta-johns for the 4th of July and for the summer for the ball fields for the spring and summer. We also approved the deluxe tents and events for the 4th of July, and those were the approvals that took place at DDA.
Thank you for all the work on the planning and DDA front. Any questions for Councilman Cox? I think it's exciting that we're securing 4th of July for 2025. Hard to believe that we're already coming up in November. So thank you. With that being said, we will turn over to Councilman McNabb, talks about waterways.
I want to thank Vince and Mike for the looking into ordering the marker buoys. I believe it looks like we have the available funds in the waterways budget. And it's buoys and hardware, and that's about all I have right now.
Awesome.
I just want to thank them for their work.
Thank you. And I know there's active discussions with the department head meeting and obviously under Mike's direction, just for everybody's awareness around the weed harvester that
Yes.
we currently have, which obviously, as we discussed publicly, and you've updated Councilman McNabb, has some challenges, as well as the funding that was secured for the new weed harvester, which thank you to our city attorney and others for helping navigate that with the county. So just know there'll be more updates for council coming there.
Yep, there will be.
Any questions for Councilman McNabb? Councilman Molnar?
No report, Your Honor.
Any questions for Councilman Molnar? All right, with that, we will turn over to Parks and Recreation Director Goris.
I do not have a report. Pat covered it well, but I do want to thank the committee, Recreation, and our DPW. None of our events go on without the help of our community. I'd like to thank Jerry and Clint for the hay wagon. I would like to thank Tim Garrett and his wife Tracy for getting the hay wagon and the hay donated by Gibraltar Duck Hunters. Are you Gibraltar Duck Hunters? Point Mullay. And I'd also like to thank Jerry Woods for coming out and painting tic-tac-toe on the community center grounds for the kids to play.
Love that.
And December 7th is our Christmas parade and tree lighting, as Pat said. And our next meeting is November 5th, and it's here at City Hall because of election.
Well said, and thank you to the team and everybody mentioned and more for all the work there. Any questions for Parks and Recreation Director Goris? City Attorney, we'll turn it over to you.
I'd like to make a request for a brief closed session to discuss a legal opinion related to recent lawsuit.
Council, motion would be in your court if you so chose to enter a closed session. I may suggest that since we have a full room today, perhaps we consider going back to the conference room on the second floor unless anybody has any objections to that. But motion be in council's order.
Mayor, may I add to that? I have some issues I'd like to speak during the closed session regarding the Plant Moran audit. I'd like to add that in there.
I'm not aware of what they are, so it wouldn't be appropriate to go into closed session at this time to discuss them.
Well, you want me to,
I need to know ahead of
discuss
time.
it here?
It depends. Keep in mind that the Plant Moran audit is through my firm and is subject to attorney-client at this
And
point.
that's why he asked me tonight to speak to you about it. So that's what I'm asking.
We could discuss, but not in a closed session form with council. We could discuss separately.
I'm sorry?
We could discuss separately, not in a closed session with all of council.
Okay. What about our electronic security? Can we discuss that in closed session?
No, that would not be a topic for closed session.
Even though it has to do with litigation?
I can discuss a legal opinion in closed session, but litigation as a general scope is not appropriate for closed session.
Okay, so do you want me to?
Discussing settlement related to,
I'd like to know what my boundaries are here, because there's a lot of things that are on the table. A lot of citizens asked some questions here, and there's sections of that may or may not have to deal with litigation that the treasurer is has information available. I guess we need to know what I can expand on.
I recommend if you're concerned that something might be related to litigation, that you discuss with me individually, and then we can determine at that point, but not as a council as a whole.
Okay. So I'm a little lost still. Security measures, dealing with a litigant that may or may not be actively employed. Where does that fall?
I'm going to recommend that we discuss this on an individual basis.
Okay. Well, I've got a list for you then, and when can we discuss that?
I will be available after the meeting.
Good.
You can give me the list and we can go from there.
Will I be involved in the litigation, closed session,
I'm going to ask that it's just the mayor and council at this point.
even though it deals with city funds and the custody of it?
The purpose of the legal opinion isn't dealing with funds or any type of settlement or anything
Because
like that.
I want the taxpayers to know, I know they have emotions about this, but I'm going to vigorously defend the city of Gibraltar against any lawsuit, as I would hope the rest of council would. So
Absolutely.
I guess I'm not going to be involved in that?
This is a very limited legal opinion.
Okay.
Related to a lawsuit, and that's it. It should not take long. This closed
During the
session.
recess, can I entertain questions from the gallery?
I do not recommend that we do that.
I'm asking I'm asking the attorney.
I would advise highly against that. That's my legal advice.
What about if it doesn't have anything to do with litigation? It's about my letters and correspondence and meetings and so on and so forth.
You are free to discuss. You have
We'll
that
have a good
ability,
time then.
but I'm going to advise anything related to the lawsuit that you
You're
don't.
going to have to keep an eye on me then.
It's against the advice of counsel then. So you can do what you like, but it's against the advice of counsel.
Okay. Thank you for the discussion. We would like a motion to enter closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Motion by Cosmore, is there a second?
Second.
Second by McNabb. Any discussion?
Yes, I have a question. For the motion to go into closed session to discuss a written confidential legal opinion related to a recent lawsuit, does the lawsuit have to be named?
Hey, it's the Tangway lawsuit that was filed.
So can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
So Rich, being our treasurer, our money man, and who oversees actually our tax-paying funds, cannot be in this closed session to talk about any of this?
I heard the guidance was that
The
this is,
city of Gibraltar has been named. The council and mayor are the decision makers in these instances. While Treasurer Fonte will have some input and insight at certain points, the purpose of this legal opinion does not involve Treasurer Fonte or any of the finances at this point.
Okay. Just want to make it clear.
thank you. Any other discussion? All right, Katie, can you please call roll?
Valentine?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Cosmore?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes. Members of public, we're going to hop upstairs to enter our closed session. We'll return from upstairs when our closed session is complete and call this meeting back in order. Thank you for your patience. Yeah, you were there for capacity last time. Huh?
Yeah, I want you to see.
Council, can we get mics on, please?
I don't want people to hear me.
I'd like to call this meeting back to order, and in order to do so, I would like to ask council to motion to return us to our regular council meeting.
Motion to return to regular council meeting.
Motion by Cox, second by Valentine. Any discussion? Katie, please call roll.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Cosmore?
Yes.
McNabb? Yes. Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carried. I don't know about you all, but it's quite chilly in here, so thanks for staying cozy with us. Thanks for your patience as we were in closed session. We have now closed the attorney's report unless there's any further items from you.
Nothing further.
Thank you. And with that, we will turn it over to our city administrator.
Okay, first thing I have tonight is emergency authorization to replace the rooftop at the Cook Center. I know normally procedure would be to go out for bids on this, but if we go out for bids, we're looking at a 3 to 4 month process, and by that time, winter's going to be set in, and we have to worry about winterizing the building and other things, and worry that we don't cause damage to the building while we don't have any heat in the building. So I'm requesting for me to just go out, get 3 bids, and I will choose the lowest bidder, and we can get this, try and replace as soon as possible. Because some rooftops they keep in stock, some rooftops have a lead time of 6 to 8 weeks, so until I do research, you know, this process could drag out if I had to go out for bids. And I'm worried about losing elements of the building in the meantime when winter really sets in.
We've received an insurance
Yeah,
reimbursement for this already, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, correct.
Yes,
That's very important.
We did get an insurance settlement, so it's not coming, it should be paid for out of this insurance and not come out of city coffers.
My only concern is, you're gonna pick the low bid. What if we don't agree with the low bid? So I'd like to, what I'm trying to.
Would you like me to bring the bids back?
I think I would like to know what they are.
Okay, I can bring them back. Hopefully I can get them for next council meeting. That way we can get moving on it.
I guess, so that's a great,
We're gonna schedule a study session before that you might be able to add that as an agenda item?
You
Oh,
can't.
I'm
you can't
sorry,
make
not on a
motions.
study session.
Yeah, you can't
I
make
apologize.
motions.
I think so, city administrator, if you think about today's date, being the 28th, next council meeting pending Katie's topic, the 12th, potentially. So is 2 weeks enough time to get all that information in order, included for council, so we can give you guidance at that meeting? Like, does that seem reasonable to you?
Next meeting is the 12th. Election's on the 5th. Let's see, I can call some contractors and see who I can get out. I don't know what their schedule's gonna be like. If I can get them out this week, I'll get them out this week.
Cool. Let's make that as a target.
All right.
Do you need any other further action from council? If not, I think you have your guidance to at least pursue that, and then update council on the 12th.
Yep. Cool. Yep.
Back to you for item B.
All right, second thing I got is to go for authorization for RFP for HVAC service contract. What I'll be looking for in the service contract is what I did before, is a licensed HVAC contractor to come out quarterly, to go through the units, make sure we have the preventive maintenance, we have winter preventive maintenance, fall, spring, summer. In each one of those, they check different things, and like spring and summer, they look at the AC parts of it. And in the fall and winter, they're looking at the heating parts of it. And then for an hourly rate for calls when we need HVAC repairs, is what I'm looking at.
And I really appreciate that recommendation, because there's been a lot of discussions around service contracts. And it seems like right now we're in a pretty reactive position, where we're making a call when we need service versus having something where we know we're gonna need service on tap, right? So.
We already, my first day my first day last Monday, I already found a unit that wasn't working here at City Hall, was in the server room, which we can't have our servers go, it's A1 degrees in there, so I called the contractor to come fix it. So that should be, that invoice will be coming soon because we had to get that going, and that's why I need this service contract. And my only question for council is, how long would you want it? 3, 4, 5 years? I don't like doing one or 2 years because they won't give you a good price. The longer you can extend the contract out, and if we can lock in an hourly rate, if they increase it throughout this contract, they still have to honor the hourly rate that we have at the contract.
Current proposal is 4, as anybody with expertise perhaps can chime into that.
I think 3-4 years is excellent, yeah. I mean, if you can get 4 years, that's.
So if I go 4 years, right in the middle?
So we'd be looking for a council motion according to the proposed action. The motion would be to authorize the request for proposal for HVAC service agreement seeking 4 years.
Motion to authorize it for RFP. I'm sorry?
I think Valentine beat you to it.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry, Mr. McNabb.
You can finish, Valentine.
Motion to authorize for an RFP for HVAC service agreement for 4 years.
We would be looking for a second.
Second.
Second by McNabb. Any discussion on that item, please?
For discussion, would it make sense to, based on whatever responses, to have maybe a Rolodex of if there is the emergency hourly service necessary and that particular contractor is 2 weeks out? Because when it gets cold for the first time of the year, everybody's 2 weeks out within an hour, having a call list to go down.
No, what I have had in previous contracts, because they did include in police and fire, that they have to come out within 24 hours. Because we have first responders, so we can't have them waiting weeks and weeks and weeks, so it's within 24-hour response.
Perfect, yeah, that handles that, okay.
Like it. Any further discussion?
Good idea.
Katie, please call roll.
Cosmore?
Yes.
McNabb? Yes. Mulner?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Motion carried. Mike, thanks for pushing that action, and we'll turn over to you for item C and authorization to purchase 6 buoy markers.
This was done by the, interim events, it's just to, council already approved 4, this is just to add 2 more to raise it to 6.
So if you think about the earlier commentary for Councilman McNabb, you see in your packet here the proposed action, the description, so increasing that authorization from the lower number previously reviewed to the 6 required, and the associated cost of those, which has been confirmed in budget.
Motion to authorize the purchase of 6 buoy markers not to exceed $1,800.
So motion, is there a second? Second by Cosmore. Any discussion on this item? Katie, call roll whenever you're ready, please.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulner?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Cosmore?
Mike, back to you for item D.
Last one I have is a resolution to name me street administrator and take Rick Tanguay off as street administrator, and I will do all the reporting required by the state.
Motion to designate Michael Blackburn as street administrator.
Second.
Second by Cosmore. Council, any discussion? Katie, please call roll.
Mulner?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Cosmore?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Motion carried. Any other items for you, Mike, that we should be aware of?
Nope, that is it at this time.
All right, great. With that being said, we will turn over to Clerk Tomasic.
All right, thank you. I have one item tonight, is to reschedule the first council meeting in November due to the federal holiday. Our first meeting in November is going to fall on Veterans Day, which is a federal holiday, and city offices will be closed. So I'm requesting council reschedules the meeting. I'm proposing it be rescheduled to the next business day on Tuesday, November 12th, rather than Monday, November 11th. Is I'd be looking for a motion to reschedule the meeting, unless there's any other dates that anyone has to suggest.
Motion to reschedule the meeting to November 12th at 6:30?
Second.
Second by Molnar. Any discussion on that item? Thanks for accommodating the holiday. Katie, call roll, please, whenever you're ready.
Schumate?
Yes.
Galentine?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Cosmore?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Molnar?
Yes.
Motion carried. Katie, back to you.
Thank you. And then just an update on the election is upcoming, 8 days away, November 5th is Election Day, and early voting is underway. We had, today was day 3 of 9 consecutive days of early voting, and so far in 3 days, we've had 387 voters vote early, which I think is
It's
awesome.
incredible numbers.
I'm glad it's being utilized, and people really appreciate having it. So it's a great way to beat the lines on Election Day, and yeah, I love that it's being utilized so greatly. So early voting will continue until this Sunday, November 3rd, at the Gibraltar Community Center for all voters in Gibraltar. Hours are 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and absentee ballots are still available as well. Just contact City Hall, and we'll get you an absentee ballot if you need that. And then, like I said, big day is November 5th, and polls will be open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that's all I have.
I love it. Thank you, tremendous thanks to you and the team for setting Gibraltar up for success when it comes to elections, and congratulations on what are high numbers, relatively speaking, for what we were expecting.
Yes, thank you.
Any questions for Clerk Tomasic? Treasurer Fonte, turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm looking for a completion of our September 9th meeting where City Administrator Vince Pastu suggested that, based on my letter of August, I think it was 26 or 24, to council regarding a request for a special investigation. It was discussed at that meeting and then kicked over to September 9th, and it was at that time suggested that we could move towards that. And it was supposed to be put on the agendas, and it hasn't ever made it. And right now, we're doing a forensic audit that really doesn't quite have a quarterback to it. And I'm looking to be or looking to council to get back into a discussion on how we're going to move forward with this investigation and who's going to lead it.
Did you, have we requested that, and do we have more information? Sorry, I just want to make sure.
I requested in my August 24th letter. It was not recommended at the time by our council because we were waiting on the state police presentation. We advanced that on their suggestion to get a forensic audit, but in the meantime, on September 9th, the discussion was still incomplete on where we were going to go, and it was suggested at that time, after a brief intermission, that you, the council, the attorney, and City Administrator Pastu came back and made a recommendation that we enact 6.8 for a special investigation. There was a little discussion on that, and there was no more, I think it was tabled. You guys were going to revisit it, and it was supposed to be put on the agenda, and it didn't happen. So I'm just wondering where that's at right now.
I don't know if I have all the details, sorry.
So, well, from what I understand of it is that in our charter, we have Article 6.8, and Vince pointed that out, that we have the ability to investigate this in-house in addition to the outsourced portion. So the forensic review would most likely be specific to the dollars, but it wouldn't entail producing documents or witnesses to figure out why these changes were made seemingly without approvals. So do we enact item 6.8 from our charter so that we can actually request witness testimony?
Got it. What would the party be for council's recommendation to do that? Is that, Mike?
So I could help you out here a little, Mayor. In my discussions, it's suggested that the city attorney be the quarterback on that. However, if he yields that, then it would be up to council to appoint an outside attorney or an investigator or lead investigator to do that. The suggestion also is not to do it in-house because it's the, contamination of a conflict of interest and, or the appearance of conflict of interest, and that's been my promotion all along with the, with everybody to remove this from our hands and push it outside the purview of this community, let somebody else handle it.
Got it.
So that's where we lay, so.
Very helpful. City Attorney, any perspective on your end?
Yeah, I'm all for showing that things are not biased, so I have no issue handing this off to someone on the outside, because I don't want anyone to think that there's any scent of anything wrong. So if council wants to appoint, so 6.8, council or any person or committee authorized by it for the purpose shall have power to inquire into conduct of any department, office, or officer, make investigations as to matters in which the municipality has an interest. So council can do it, or any person or committee. So council has the power to enact that section and determine who does it, so.
I'm sorry, do you have resources that you could recommend to us that could?
I could put a list if you guys want like 3 or 4 or 5 attorneys that together, and then you guys can interview and pick whichever one you want, that's fine.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yes, I think we need to move something. The auditors have their information now. They've got to work it over. They're only in the first phase of this, so we have what I would call a wide receiver now in them, in the auditors, but we need a quarterback to round that up. It could be very well, it could be our attorney to do that, but if he yields that, it should be somebody that, as our attorney pointed out, council appoints.
I really like that. If you could help us with it.
Yeah, I'd recommend yielding for this one just because of the ongoing situation and my involvement defending the city in that one. And if I get involved in this process, then it could make me a fact witness in some capacity. So I want to keep these two things separate in the situation. That said, it doesn't necessarily have to be an attorney that's the person doing it. So keep that in mind as well. It just says council, person, or committee. But if you guys want a list of attorneys, I mean, I can get you a list, or if you guys want to come up with your own list, it's up to you, however you want to structure it.
But in essence, the investigative body would be, from what I read, have the ability to subpoena and I believe put people under oath to secure the right data from them.
Yeah, so a quick reading of this section off the cuff, yeah, they have the ability to summons. If they don't appear, there's fines that can be imposed, civil and criminally. And then they could also petition Wayne County Circuit Court to assist in the process if people are not cooperating with the investigation.
Probably be good to look at a slate of attorneys that you recommend. That way they can navigate the procedural challenges that might be present for somebody that doesn't have that education.
That's fine. I assume council then wants municipal background for attorneys, or is there another area you guys want? There's attorneys that do, is this for the accounting purposes?
No, I think, well, let's say that's going to help. But I would think more so in the avenue that the lane we're running in right now with the fire department. So people that would have experience of some sort, police, fire, wage schedules, et cetera.
Okay.
Really good discussion.
Because there's challenges ahead, a lot of them, both with what the auditor has and what's ahead of us. And I'd like to get that. I'd like to get the team in place and get this resolved and moved quickly through it so we can get on to the business of running the city.
Thank you, Treasurer Fonte. It sounds like you have your marching orders, helping us get a list with that.
Do we need to make a motion to enact ordinance 6.8?
Or should we do that
Well,
when we get the
my
list?
suggestion, it would be, because that's where you guys left off. The offer was on the table and it never happened, so.
Motion to enact ordinance 6.8?
Your motion would probably have to be more defined though, because just enacting it, it's a procedural tool for investigations. So you'd have to give it a little more context. So you're saying it's enacted for purpose X or purpose Y.
Or should we consider getting the list from you? Can you get that for the next meeting and then make a motion?
Procedurally, that would make more sense, because then at the same motion, you can say, we've interviewed, we've selected this person, council's wants this person to be the person to do the investigation, and pursuant to 6.8, this person is now tasked with doing the investigation.
If that's the course council takes, could we make sure it's an agenda item then and it doesn't?
Yeah, so I can get you a list. I could provide it to the city administrator. Was it the 12th is the next meeting's been moved to? I have a conflict that evening, so there's gonna be another attorney filling in for me. But you guys are more than welcome to figure out an interview process of the list. And if you don't like it, then you guys can get your own too. I'll do my best to give you as many as possible to interview.
Appreciate that.
But ultimately, you guys can decide how you want to handle that side.
I think if we make sure we have it on the agenda for next meeting, that gives us the opportunity to narrow that list down and have somebody who might help us draft the language of the proposed motion or resolution as well.
Yeah, and I can work on that prior to
Okay.
the
We
language.
list it as a postponement, then? Can we, that way we're assured it's on the agenda?
Yeah, yeah. An unfinished business?
Yeah, so.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, and the next one is unfinished business. Yeah.
We would just ensure that, yeah, like you said, make sure that it stays on there.
Sounds good. Clerk Tomasic can help with the agenda, making sure we have that. We'll capture as an action, and we'll have it live under unfinished business, just so we have it monitored as we look at the appointment consideration.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you, Treasurer Fonte.
Thank
Back
you.
to you. Anything else?
Hold on, real quick, just while we're talking about this topic. One consideration too, an attorney's gonna be a little more expensive on the hourly rate. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, you guys can pick an attorney, doesn't have to be. You could pick a panel of 3 or 4, the way it's structured. You can make a committee, but just keep that in mind as council, that usually attorneys acting as call it, it's not even a judge, but it's an independent examiner. Their rates might be a little more expensive, just so you guys are aware.
So have you had experience, let's say out of 33rd District Court, or any court for that matter, they usually have, don't they have panels of mediators available for?
Wayne County has a mediation tribunal, which is usually a lot of retired judges. So they do have those tribunals, but that's a third-party service. But there's also retired judges that act as mediators, and they'll also act as arbitration hearing officers. So that's like what you would want here, more or less, is an arbitration hearing officer.
Yeah.
Those individuals are usually very seasoned and experienced and respected, and with that comes a price tag. So just be fully advised that.
Could we get a sampling of a little bit of each?
Yeah, that's probably the best group to do it, and I'll get you small little CVs and hourly rates, and you guys can go from there. And there, a couple might be former judges. That said, though, they also are tough to schedule because they're so busy and in high demand. But these are just things that you guys all should kind of be aware of if this is the route with the legal person. Just, I don't want you guys showing up and saying, we like this guy, and he's $500 an hour, and we can't get it scheduled for 4 months because they're so busy.
Very, very much appreciated.
Yeah, of course.
We'll make sure it's on the agenda. We'll make sure we get information, and we'll convene on the 12th. Thank you, Treasurer Fonte. Any questions for Treasurer Fonte? Comments for Treasurer Fonte?
I would just, would you be able to put together a recommendation so that when we come to the 12th, we have your recommendation as to?
Yeah, if I get the information, would you work with me on that, Anthony, on who some of these people are and?
For the person that would be the officer?
Well, let's say gleaning the list down to something that we can present to council.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what, I'll get you names, information. Like I said, there would probably be a couple of retired judges on that list. Yeah, absolutely.
Just so that you're able to narrow down that list and make your recommendation to us, rather than us having to,
That's fine.
have
like
additional
it.
homework here.
Maybe, better yet, we put that under your agenda for the 12th meeting.
Well, I want to surprise you. I don't want anything there.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any further questions or comments for Treasurer Fonte? Finance Director McEwen, we are sending best thoughts as she is home, not feeling well. So I will then turn it over to Chief Kane, who's going to represent both the police report and the fire chief sessions.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In front of you, you have the police activity, the year-to-month comparison for the police department. The records information, I don't know if you'd like me to read it all to you.
I would just suggest, Council, you have it in front of you. As far as the report goes, you have obviously the comparisons, the payments and the records. Anything that you have questions for Chief Kane on? Okay, back to you, Chief Kane.
Chief Tangway has 2 action items that were in front of you. One is the renewal of a private property enforcement of the Michigan Vehicle Code Agreement. This is a renew a 2-year private property enforcement agreement with the Meadowlands Gibraltar LLC. The prior agreement expires on 10/24 of 2024. This was the first council meeting after the current agreement expired. He's looking to have it approved.
I do have some high-level background here, just because we had talked about Meadowlands and we had heard some public commentary, so I can't speak to the direct interface here. All I can say is that I know there was an active channel of communication with Meadowlands and the oversight of Meadowlands, and that this has been an agreement that's in place and just requires that renewal. So I can't answer any tax questions. I just know the context. I know some of our members of the community had raised concerns there, so I think a relevant action for council to consider today. And if you so chose, it'd be a motion to renew that 2-year private property enforcement agreement with the Meadowlands.
Motion to renew a 2-year private property enforcement agreement with the Meadowlands Gibraltar LLC.
I'll second it.
Motion by Cox, second by Cosmore. Any discussion or follow-up questions that we need to clarify there? Okay. Katie, please call roll.
Valentine?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Cosmore?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes. Motion carried. We'll make sure that's executed in partnership with Meadowlands. Back to you, Chief
Thank you.
Kane.
The second one is a 25 deer management assistant permits. The action is approve the variance to hunt and use archery equipment per the DNR email received on 2023. Zach Cooley from the DNR emailed a request to approve a variance to hunt deer and use archery equipment per Mr. Wilkinson's request for 25 deer management assistance permit from the DNR. This would be archery-only permit. And he is looking to get that approved.
I'd make that motion.
Motion by Molnar,
Second.
second by Valentine. Any discussion?
So what area are they hunting in?
In the PFAS.
Over there, okay.
I believe this was discussed previously with, at minimum, the commission, potentially council. My understanding is overpopulation considerations there related to the location. I don't want to extrapolate too far here, but I know one consideration here is, the location of that land and the potential for the crossing and vehicle consideration. So just throwing that out there as a broader consideration, but I'm not saying that's related.
We proved the same thing last year.
Yep.
So in essence, we're going to give 25 people a license to shoot a deer with a bow?
Archery equipment, correct, and then the DNR communication around the 25 deer. Okay, no further discussion. Katie will let you call roll.
Wood?
No.
Cox?
Yes.
Cosmore?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carried. Back to you, Chief Kane.
That concludes his report. The fire department report. Since the last council meeting, we've had a total of 27 calls, 23 were rescues, 4 were fires. One was a mutual aid that we helped another city, and 6 were mutual aids that we received. With those mutual aids, we had a few people off with injuries, myself included, leading to the higher amount there. We normally don't have 6 mutual aids. On that November 14th, I will be off for a month. I have meniscus surgery that I have to have done. Cindy will be here in my absence. I met with the ISO insurance rating gentleman the other day for the insurance ratings that you have when you purchase a house or inside or for the city. All paperwork, we'll turn all the paperwork in by the end of this month, or sorry, by the end of this week. And he'll have a response by the end of the month of what it's going to be. We were at Trunk or Treat at Parsons, did a great job. There's a lot of people there. If you weren't ever at Trunk or Treat at Parsons, there's a lot of kids. There's a Halloween parade for Parsons Thursday, October 31st at 1 p.m. The parade goes through the neighborhood behind Parsons on Navarre, Stolflet. There's another Carlson football game this Friday, and when they win, we'll put it that way, there'll be another one the following Friday. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Chief Kane. Any questions for Chief Kane and the report this evening?
I just want to add with the mention of Halloween, this Thursday night, trick-or-treating hours will be 6 to 8 p.m.
Broadcast 6 to 8 p.m. trick-or-treat hours. Thank you, Katie.
Important.
If no further questions, that closes both reports delivered by Chief Kane. Unfinished business, I know we discussed 6.8, but we'll make sure that is reflected under Treasurer Fonte's report, given his agenda item and recommendation. So that will be on the agenda for our next meeting. Any new business council would like to raise this evening? I'm not showing any listed. We do not have any tabled and referred items. So with that, we'd like to open up to public comment. Members of public, please approach our podium. Make sure that light is green and state your name and address. Not seeing any public comment. With that being said, we'll close public comment this evening and look for a motion to adjourn from council.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Cosmore. Is there a
Second.
Second by Wood. Any discussion? Katie, please call roll.
Cox?
Yes.
Cosmore?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Wood?
Motion carried. I hope everybody has a very nice Halloween, and thank you for being here this evening. Have a good night, everybody.
Yep, you too.